Hi, it's Lisan. In this video, I'd like to talk about foods to avoid on Raw Till 4 if you're gaining weight and you haven't come from a background of calorie restriction and you're getting enough exercise, enough sleep, and you've looked at all those other factors for weight gain. And I wanted to do this video because the last video that I did was about smoothies and whether they make people fat, and I also went into whether juice or added sugar made people fat. And I was really interested in the comments that I received because apparently there are people who have gained fat or gained body weight or gained some type of bloating at least from drinking smoothies, whereas they don't get that same effect from eating the whole food. So my view is that it's not necessarily the calories in the smoothie that is causing the weight gain, but just that the smoothie itself has been processed, and because it's a liquid meal, the body might register it differently than if it was a whole food. So I just wanted to point out in this video that if you are gaining weight on Raw Till 4 and you haven't been restricting your calories either intentionally or unintentionally, then have a look at the way that you're processing your food, because that might have something to do with it. So firstly, I would say try to avoid the higher fat foods like avocados, flax seeds, nuts, all those things that are pretty easy to overeat on. And I did make a video about healthy fats earlier where I said it's fine to have these in moderation, under 10% of calories for most people, and if you want, you can have a higher percentage of these healthy fats if you want, and for some people it actually helps with their weight loss because it helps them to feel full for longer. But I think for those who are doing Raw Till 4 and want to stick to that and want to stay high carb vegan and eat a lot of carbohydrates, then it's probably more sensible to limit the fat intake, and as well as that to also probably limit the processing of your fruits, like making them into a smoothie or drinking too much juice. And I wanted to read out a comment that I got from someone who was following Raw Till 4 and they were drinking 2 1,000 calorie smoothies every day in order to do Raw Till 4. She said, "First, I believe 100% in the high carb, low fat lifestyle. I'm vegan for ethical reasons. I don't get why it's so hard for the people in the high carb, low fat lifestyle to understand that some don't do well with only smoothies or huge smoothies. I am not disagreeing that a high carb, low fat diet is the best diet, and no one gets fat eating that way, but not everyone is capable of processing a 10 banana smoothie. When I started the whole foods, high carb, low fat lifestyle, I was eating fruit whole and lots of starches. I did great. As soon as I learned about Raw Till 4 and I started pounding the massive smoothies, things went south. I started gaining weight, 30 pounds in total, and I'm tiny, 5'1". My health took a turn for the worst and I was not feeling my best, yet I continued to argue that it was not the massive smoothies. My blood work was a mess, my thyroid acting up, and my sugar. When I started eating high carb, low fat, I was insulin resistant. Since I was eating whole fruits and starches, I actually stopped my medication and basically reversed my insulin resistance. After a year on massive smoothies, my belly was huge and my sugar was a mess. I had to go back on metformin to help me control my insulin resistance. So I stopped the smoothies. Now I'm eating a more starch solution diet. If I eat fruit, I eat it whole. I feel amazing. My body is finally losing weight. Should people be afraid of smoothies? Absolutely not. But they should not, if their bodies are not responding well to them, base their entire diet only on smoothies. I still have a smoothie once in a while, but my main meals are now high carb, low fat starch solution type. My sugars are leveling out, thyroid getting better, weight getting better. My body didn't handle big smoothies. End of story. Good news is high carb, low fat diet works. People just have to find which form, high fruit, high starch, or high raw, works for them." There were a few other comments as well, not just by her, but also from a few other people who said that eating the food whole was different for them than getting it from the smoothie. So I think for those people who are gaining weight on Raw Till 4 and they're drinking a lot of smoothies, maybe take a look at whether it's the smoothies that are causing the problem. I think one way that you could find out is to use the same ingredients that you would usually use to make your smoothie and try eating them as your whole foods. And for some that might be really hard because some people use frozen berries and bananas and dates, and you don't really eat them separately. Well, you could, but I think that's an experiment that someone could do if they wanted to stay raw till 4 and see if the smoothies are causing their weight gain. Then they could just try eating the food whole. But the problem is that for a lot of people, smoothies are a way to get in the calories, and if you take out that option, then it's going to be even more restricted. So I don't generally recommend it for the average person who's not gaining weight and who's pretty happy doing smoothies. But if you are gaining weight, then try without the smoothies. Try raw till 4 without the smoothies and see if that makes a difference. And I think that's probably why a lot of people are going onto the starch solution, because how can you do raw till 4 unless you have a lot of fruit, a lot of good quality fruit? You don't have to add sugar, or you don't have to blend dates in with the smoothie to bring up the calorie amount. It is possible to do raw till 4 without smoothies. It's just that it is pretty much a staple. So if you just have more starches, that's fine as well. If you want to have oatmeal for breakfast instead of a smoothie, that's fine. Or if you wanted to have rice for lunch instead, that's fine. So you could open up your options by just getting off raw till 4 and going onto the starch solution. But you don't necessarily have to eat less calories. I know some people do because they just feel more satiated on starches, and maybe it's because the cooked foods absorb more than raw foods, and I've seen some research on that by plant-based solution where raw foods are not absorbed, or the calories from raw foods are not absorbed as much as from cooked foods. So that could be another reason why people can eat slightly less on starch solution and be fine with that. If you are doing raw till 4, gaining weight, and you've checked all those other factors that I've mentioned in my previous videos and that we kind of all know about, and you're still gaining weight, then think about whether it's the smoothies and the fruit juice that could be a problem for you. It's not a problem for everyone, but just check if it is for you. So I hope that this video helped, and see you in my next one. Bye.